Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at the pitching for today, the 12th of August. It is Tuesday. We do have a 12-game main slate ahead of us this evening. We have just one game to kind of worry about in Chicago. Some delay risk on this main slate. A little bit of delay risk in St. Louis, but the main focus is going to be Chicago this evening. Not a whole lot of wind from a benefit or negative standpoint, I guess. Sacramento, probably the best hitting environment on the slate, but we're here to talk about pitching. This is the first look at the pitching options on the slate, and I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play on FanDuel, I would cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get the stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Now with all that good stuff said and done, let's just jump into the pitching matchups. First one here, my browser wants to catch up. Minnesota and the Yankees. Minnesota probably going mostly bullpen-ish game. Hatch did throw 4 1/3 as the long man his last time out. Certainly could do something similar again, maybe throw 70 pitches. I'm not really sure. Just not somebody I want to consider. Unless we for sure know that he's actually starting, because I have a feeling they are going to announce an opener. But I've also seen some places where Pearson Ole is projected as pitching too. So we're going to want to pay attention to this as the morning progresses and we get updates. The other side, Rodon hasn't been super sharp the last few. 4+ walks in 3 out of his last 4. That's very concerning. But it is a plus matchup. And if he's able to rein in those walks, which he certainly could after getting an additional day of rest here, I think the upside is pretty massive in this spot. So I'm very interested. It's hard to just not want to play some Carlos Rodon against a weakened Twins lineup. Even spending up at 10.2K, I'm completely fine with it. Toronto and the Cubs. Jose Barrios is interesting enough. He's not bad at home. I believe in the last couple of years with Toronto, he's been at his best when at home. Some of his numbers are better. He's just not a big K guy any longer, but still, I think the Cubs have been struggling enough that there might be some upside. I'm kind of leaving him in the to be determined category, I guess. I need to dig into more information, but he is somebody I want to look into. Ben Brown is an arm I kind of believe in longer term. I just don't really want to pick on Toronto with a mediocre pitcher right now. He has shown legit upside. Over 30 fantasy points against Cincinnati almost 2.5 months ago. But his performances are just all over the place. His last 2 at the Major League level have been pretty strong, but I just don't think we can use them against Toronto and their lack of strikeout upside in general. Atlanta and the Mets. Clay Holmes has made 2 starts against Atlanta. 10 walks in 9 2/3 innings. 10 walks. So despite giving up a batting average of 194 in those 2 starts, he's got a whip of 176. It's not overly exciting. He did have his biggest strikeout game since early June last time out. But I still contend that he has hit a starting pitcher wall. I've talked about it numerous times at this point. A career reliever suddenly thrust into the starting rotation this season. Started out hot. Looked like a big-time move that was going to pay off for the Mets. But since early May, he has just 1 start of over 17 fantasy points. It's not really going to get it done. I know we pick on Atlanta with some pitching now. Their lineup has has struggled or gotten weaker without Acuna, but I just don't want to use Holmes on a 12-game slate. On the other side, Spencer Strider. 2 starts against the Mets, and I assume both are pretty dominant. 21.65 fantasy points. And 27.9. I guess they were back-to-back. I just can't read. Strikeouts have been there in those matchups. He's had some strikeout issues a little bit this season. Obviously, he's still striking guys out, just not the numbers we're used to, but they also bounce around a lot. 3, 4, and then he hit 13, 3, 4, 11. Wider range than we're used to with Spencer Strider. 3 starts out of his last 6 where he's allowed multiple home runs as well. Walks are higher this season in his return from Tommy John. Just a lot to unravel for him. And I know he's one of the guys that changed his arm angle slightly as well. There's some talk early in the season about that. So that's kind of why the extreme up and down performances. I'm definitely going to use him just because he has those extreme ups, right? If I didn't think he had this kind of upside, in matchups, the Yankees at 30 fantasy points, we could probably pass on him, but he still has those extreme ups, and that's what we're looking for in GPP play. He's tough to trust in anything other than GPPs, though. Next game, Detroit and the White Sox. The aforementioned rain issues potential. Flaherty's been all over the place recently. Some strong performances, an atrocious one against the Twins. Definitely somebody I want to utilize. Averaging 23 fantasy points in 2 starts against the White Sox. Been pretty dominant against them. He has the upside we're looking for, so definitely going to be in play for me as long as we find out that the weather should be alright for him. We do want to learn about the timing of the storms just to make sure we aren't getting a 3-inning start and then a 2-hour delay and we're kind of screwed there. But as of now, I'm planning on Flaherty being in my pitcher pool. Pitt, Milwaukee, definitely guys we're going to utilize. Peralta bounced back after an atrocious start with a pretty strong start against Atlanta. He's been phenomenal when pitching at home, where he's at this evening. Not the best against Pittsburgh this season. Strikeouts have been there, but he's made some mistakes. 21 fantasy points, but then 9 in the other start. Definitely somebody I love using when he's pitching at home. So, there's no question marks for me. Big question becomes, what do we do with Paul Skeens? I think we play him. But his worst start of the season, second worst, from a fantasy point standpoint, came against this Milwaukee team. So, he has made 2 starts against them. The other start saw him put up 24 fantasy points. That was almost 3 months ago. With that said, his K numbers are kind of stabilized. He was all over the place early in the season. Another one of those guys that has adjusted his arm angle slightly to try to take some wear away from the elbow. So we saw some lower strikeout performances early, but he's kind of come on. Still just 1 double-digit strikeout performance on the season, which is kind of shocking. It isn't the most ideal matchup with the way that Milwaukee's playing. But I wonder if some people are going to avoid using him at 11K because of that. And if that's the case, I do like the going overweight approach, but understanding that it is going to have a little more volatility than you normally might expect from a Paul Skeens start. Washington, Kansas City, Michael Wacha. Probably viable, as gross as it feels for me. 2 starts ago and against an elite Toronto offense was dominant. Put up 28 fantasy points. Got to throw 100 pitches. Last start, just 74 pitches, was decent against the Red Sox. Just didn't pick up many strikeouts, etc. His numbers at home have been phenomenal. And I think most of the Washington lineup's pretty weak. He just has to really avoid James Wood. Maybe Josh Bell, who's been on fire. And maybe C.J. Abrams. But I think Walker's definitely got to be in play. But Mitchell Parker, not really going to do it for me. Don't really enjoy picking on Kansas City. I don't mind using left-handed pitching against them, which is kind of surprising, but I just don't think Parker has enough upside, especially on a 12-game slate. Colorado, St. Louis, Kyle Freeland's just not going to be in play for me. Liberatore is somebody I'm considering just because we're picking on Colorado pitching, but over the last month and a half, he's been pretty weak. Strikeouts just have deteriorated. He is kind of hitting some innings highs, etc., so it's tough to rely on him. He hasn't been as strong when pitching at home either, which is kind of surprising. But he is somebody I plan on trying to sprinkle in. I'm just not wanting to be too heavy on him despite facing Colorado. I just don't like his recent trends as a pitcher. Arizona, Texas, Leiter, I think is viable, but I don't enjoy it. His home numbers are definitely better than the road numbers, except for his strikeouts. Take a bit of a hit. But, I mean, I just don't really want to pick on Arizona. Corbin Carroll, Marte, Perdomo's rolling. Blaze Alexander, Del Castillo, just guys that have started swinging it a little better since the trade deadline. Later, I just don't love all these walks. It's a huge thing, especially against a team like Arizona that can hit plenty of home runs. I think we're asking for a lot for him to be, strong enough on a 12-game slate that I just don't think I can get there. Discofina, I'm just not going to get there either. Still being stretched out. Might see a jump into the 80s for pitch count, but still, I'm just not in a hurry to use a guy that's probably, 70 pitches on a 12-game slate. 70, 75 pitches on a 12-game slate. Boston, Houston. We saw Houston get to Garrett Crochet. Dustin May hasn't been very good yet with Boston. Wasn't very good with the Dodgers. Somebody with the arm talent that we keep expecting big things from, but he just underwhelms. 6,700 is an intriguing price tag, but I just don't know. I'd have to look into his numbers, and if he's dominating against right-handed bats, that would be one thing, because obviously Houston's going to be pretty right-hand heavy. Probably 7 right-handed bats or so, but not somebody I'm excited to use. Arrighetti returned and got lit up last time out. Started out his season super strong back in March, but I think we just kind of have to play the wait and see with him to see if he kind of returns and gets it done. So I'm not planning on utilizing him. Emmett Sheehan, somebody that I think I'm going to use tonight. There's just a lot of K upside. He's been better when away from his home ballpark. Walks are an issue on the road, but look pretty good. Could see a bump. The problem is maybe he sticks in the mid-70s for pitches. If he does, then I don't think he's viable. So it really depends on what you think as far as pitch count. He was at 80 in early July. He's been in the 70s each of his last 3. It's tougher to figure out. I'm intrigued enough because there's enough upside that I'm going to try to utilize him unless we find out that he's still only going to throw in the 70s for pitches. San Diego, San Francisco. Robbie Ray, definitely somebody I'm using in this ballpark. Dominated San Diego the first time he faced them. San Diego doesn't strike out a whole lot, but still, great spot. Nestor Cortez might make it into my pool. I don't love using Nestor, but I do love the ballpark, and I'm not overly afraid of San Francisco's offense. Last game, Tampa Bay and the Athletics. Jacob Lopez, somebody, a ton of upside from a GPP standpoint. Nearly 40 fantasy points his last time out. Definitely somebody that's going to be in my pool. I'm still considering what to do with Shane Baz. He dominated the A's first time. A lot of strikeouts, but not the greatest ballpark. But there we have it. There's our first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on. Get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc. I'll put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And as always, I will drop the link down to our merch store. You can check out my hoodie. Let me know what you think of it. And as always, best of luck, everybody.